This was issued about 7 minutes ago, and this tornado warning, again, is going until 11:15. No confirmation, but if you happen to be in this area, again, get into a safe place. If you are away from the center of this storm and you're able to get any kind of visual confirmation, we'd love to hear from you if, in fact, this is something that you may have seen. But again, if you are in the path of this storm, this is nothing you want to take a photograph of. This is something you want to avoid. Getting into your safe space, which is the lowest level of your house. If you have a basement, that's where you want to be. And obviously take precaution. One of the things that I'm going to do here again is okay, this is still, see that little hook here? This is wind direction from away from the radar and towards the radar, okay? That is why that little area here is where there's the potential of a spin up, okay? And that is why a tornado warning has been issued, again, until 11:15. I will admit, looking at the radar data itself, it's not terribly impressive. That's why you have to look inside the storm, and that's what we're doing here with red and green denoting different wind directions within the storm. And when you see that kind of, you see that coupling, that wind direction change in a short distance, that's where you can see spin within a storm, and that's what is indicated here and going on in parts of central Wyoming County. So what I'll do is I'm going to go back and show you again. One of the other interesting aspects of this is we're seeing very little lightning, okay? Oftentimes in tornadic storms, you will see tremendous amounts of lightning, and right now we are not seeing that. So that's a good thing, but that doesn't mean that a tornado isn't occurring, but it's just one of the indicators that this storm may be, in fact, in the weakening phase. So to give you some perspective, the area that we're most concerned about, and the best way to show that is with this little product here, is right along Route 78 to the south of Weathersfield, to the east of Smith Corner, and the track of this is moving at about 38 miles an hour, would take it towards Gainesville at 10:51, towards Letchworth Park at 10:52, Silver Springs 10:55, and then actually at the state park itself just after 11 o'clock, where, of course, you have a lot of people that could be, it's not the greatest of days to be out sightseeing, but doesn't mean that people aren't there hiking and whatnot. So this is something, of course, we want to take very seriously. Again, the storm right now is right here. Again, doesn't have that classic look on radar, but again, it's within the storm that we see that change of wind direction with a short distance north to south, and that's why we believe there's the potential. And that continues right here on 78 heading towards Gainesville. If you live in Gainesville, this is a storm that you want to take precaution of. Get in the lowest level of your house. The basement is where we recommend. If you don't have a basement, get on the first floor, get into an interior room, and maybe a closet or a bathroom, if you will, and take precaution because this storm is heading towards you, okay? We're not seeing any signs of a weakening trend. What I'm going to do is this is the last couple of 2 hours, and you can see that the storm is moving, and it's going to be moving out of our area very, very soon. But still, it's in central Wyoming County near the town of Gainesville, okay? Right along 78, 362, there's 19. And, okay, I just got a latest update. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles south of Warsaw or 10 miles west of Letchworth State Park. The last update was 19 miles, so it's closing in on the Letchworth State Park area. It's moving to the east, actually, now. It's slowed down a bit at 30 miles an hour. So let's give you an updated track on that based on that new speed, which I had clocked in at 38. It's now at 30. And let's see where the track takes it. It takes it towards Gainesville at 10:53, Village Park 10:58, and Silver Spring right around 11 o'clock this morning. Okay, and there's an updated look at the radar signature, and you can see that doesn't have that classic look, but doesn't necessarily need to. Sometimes the radar, we're not too terribly far from the radar tower, so we're looking at kind of the mid-level parts of this storm, not necessarily the lowest levels, but you can kind of see, if you look at that with me, there's kind of a little bit of a notch here, a hook, if you will, and that is indicating where air is flowing into the storm, and there's very possibly a sign of rotation, again, heading towards Gainesville. This is just to the southwest of Newburgh, to the east of Wethersfield, to the east of Smith's Corner, and it's traveling at about 30 miles an hour. Okay, no new update yet from the Weather Service on this. Again, I know I'm repeating myself. Nothing indicated visually. We don't know if there's a tornado, but when you have rotation like this within a storm, you have to think that sometimes these rotations can attach to the surface. And when that happens, you get a tornado. And that's potentially what's going on here. So once again, 10:50 is the time, so another 25 minutes. Doesn't mean that this tornado warning can't be canceled sooner. But we're going to stay on with you as this storm, again, continues to head east towards Gainesville. And I'm going to take another look at okay, this is very good news, and that is that the rotation signal has weakened. Doesn't mean that there isn't still rotation, but there was a visible couplet that looked a little bit more, and when I say couplet, I don't mean to be using these big words here. A couplet is basically, think of it as a packing of different wind speeds and direction in a short geographical distance, and that's what we have in Gainesville right now and what we're seeing. I'm taking a look, okay, the warning was just expanded and it extends now. It includes Castile, Silver Springs, and Perry. Silver Springs right now is definitely within the path of this potential tornado.
Patrick, it's Kelly here. The
Hi,
warning
Kelly.
means that the conditions are like prime for a tornado happening, but you haven't had anybody confirm
Not at all.
or anything like that.
And I got to be honest with you, when we see the potential of severe weather and tornadoes, we know that well in advance. Today was not one of those days, okay? We are not under a risk of severe weather. Actually, this area is moving into an area of enhanced risk during the day, but this was not a classic setup where a tornado had any kind of potential, okay? So I just want to make that clear. Having said that, doesn't mean it can't happen. Tornadoes or thunderstorms have unique lives of their own. They take on different character. And if the wind speed and the wind direction is just right, that can be the case. I am seeing, if you can see this with me here, a definite little bit of a notch here, okay? That could be where we are seeing the possibility of rotation and a tornado. This is heading towards Silver Springs, and then eventually in towards the Perry area. So this is something we're going to keep our eyes on. Nothing new yet from the Weather Service.
Is it that red hook area?
Yeah, well, Kelly,
it says 19.
Right there,
okay.
Exactly. Now, I want to stress that the rotation within the storm showed a little bit of sign of weakening, but right there, I'm not seeing the classic signal that we saw a couple scans ago, which is a good sign. But that doesn't mean the threat is over. We're still under a tornado warning, and that'll be going on again for the next, now, let's see, 18 minutes or so. Gainesville is, okay, here we go.
Update.
A tornado observed.
Okay.
Radar confirmed that a tornado was located near Warsaw or near Letchworth State Park, moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. A possible tornado was across the wind towers of Wyoming County. You know, we have a lot of wind farms there. The circulation has weakened somewhat. Again, I am reading to you updates from the National Weather Service, so I'm not having a conversation with myself.
So what if somebody is at Letchworth right now, they have their phone, they actually have a cell signal, what should they do? Because this doesn't happen very often here.
No, it doesn't. What they should do is A, not get into their car. Okay, get away from any kind of tall structures. If there's any kind of shelter, I know that there are shelters in and around Letchworth State Park. That is the best thing to do. And of course, if you're near the restaurant there, that's a place to take cover. Okay, this is also from the Weather Service. They just wanted to confirm something. This is radar confirmed, not observed.
Okay. So a person didn't see that.
They just updated that. Radar confirmed, not observed.
And then you can see the 90 on that traffic cam. Just a lot of heavy rain right now in Batavia.
Absolutely, yeah. The tremendous rain is coming from this. But again, Kelly, I find it just so interesting that there is very little lightning with this, But there you can kind of see a little bit of a swirl here. This little notch is called an inflow notch, if that's in fact what it is. That's where air is kind of circulating into the storm. And then you also have air circulating away from the storm on the other side. This is near Gainesville and heading towards Silver Springs, okay? So the track is continuing to the east at about 30 miles an hour. If you live in Silver Springs, you need to take cover. You need to get into what we call our safe space, which is the lowest level of your home. If you have a basement, that's where you want to go. Doesn't really matter where you are in the basement, just get there. And an interior room on the first level of your home.
Yeah, so if you don't have a basement, you can go.
Right. And not everybody
does. Space under your stairs is a good spot, right? Or you can go into your bathroom and be in the bathtub.
Yeah, and of course, some of the classic things, cover yourself with a mattress, things like that. But that is what we're recommending for folks in Silver Springs.
Has it been extended beyond 11:15?
No, it is still just
11:15.
It's 11:15. Okay. I just got the 10:53. Yeah, it's still at 11:15.
Have there been reports of hail? You said not a lot of lightning, but you haven't seen any hail.
Hail is quite possible.
Okay.
This does not appear to be a storm that has a tremendous amount of height to it. Okay,
so is that
which reduces the threat of hail. Okay, not to say that there isn't hail, but a storm needs to be really tall. It needs to go way up into the atmosphere for it to produce hail. Again, the track of this storm, the center of it is right over Gainesville as we speak, and it's traveling to the east, and it puts it in Village Park in about 2 minutes, Silver Springs in about 3 minutes, and Letchworth State Park at just after 11:10 this morning.
And we just heard from one of our stringers, one of our crews out in that area, Patrick, that emergency crews have responded to calls to barns that have been damaged in that area. So that tracks along with the information.
You know what, right? And Kelly, I find this very, very interesting. This storm is not too far away in terms of just where it is to the Hamburg tornado, and it had occurred at about the same time.
Okay, yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
That was
by
back
the fairgrounds.
on
was
the
that 5 or 6 years ago?
That was in 2017 on the 20th of July, and it happened right about now. It was a little bit later, but it was this kind of mid-morning time frame.
Right.
And that is not a classic time for this kind of thing, which suggests that this has just got this unique character. It's got the perfect kind of wind flow going to and from the storm on a non-classic severe weather day. That is for sure. Okay, we're just getting something new. Okay, nothing new from the Weather Service. Again, this warning goes until 11:15, and there you can clearly see that with me. That little notch right there. Right over Silver Springs.
And we just got an update, Patrick, from Letchworth. They said so far just heavy rain.
Yeah. Well, Letchworth is still a little way, it's still about 10 minutes away. So any potential rotation is not there yet. Okay, let's give you a perspective. Letchworth is right over here. So it's heading right towards it, but we're still about 7-8 minutes away from Letchworth State Park.
And this is the only tornado warning, right? There's nothing.
Let me give you a perspective. Yeah. This is it. Yes, do we have some heavy rain near Mayville and heading on the north side of Chautauqua Lake? Yes. Do we have some storms up here in parts of near Albion and Orleans County? Yes. Is there some moderate rain in Batavia? Yes. Are there any severe weather alerts? No. This is it.
And if you're in the Metro Buffalo area and you're not seeing anything right now, this is the rain that moved through here earlier, right? And you might be like, whoa, what's going on? Well,
Right. Well, and yeah, and it's kind of a storm that we had been tracking since about 7 o'clock this morning when actually 6 o'clock this morning when it developed over central Lake Erie near Long Point, traveled through the south towns, Hamburg, Orchard Park, East Aurora, and it is now traveling to the east. It's also getting into, hillier terrain, and that can often disrupt the inflow into a storm and disorganize it a bit. But right now, we're still dealing with the potential of rotation here.
At what point would they lower it down to a tornado watch or cancel it altogether?
That's a very good question. We are not under a tornado watch. A tornado watch is a tornado.
That's a bigger area.
Yeah,
right?
a tornado watch is when the ingredients are ripe for a tornado. That never occurred. There was no watch here. There was no real heightened level of severe weather alert with this. Okay, except the fact that we. Most of Western New York is not within a risk. We're technically, Wyoming County is, the eastern part of Wyoming County is in a marginal risk of severe weather. So there is a little bit of an alert, but there's no screaming red flag for the potential of a tornado. This is really interesting. Right along 362, you see kind of a disorganized patchwork of red and green. I believe that's because we're into a hilly area, but this is where the rotation would be, right along 362.
So if it goes through that hilly area, could it weaken, and then that would be a good thing for people on the other side of that path, right?
Tornadoes are not afraid of mountains, but their mountains are not their friend.
Okay.
They just, it disrupts the airflow into and out of a storm. So, but let's get the latest scan. We're still seeing that sign of a little bit of a hook here, a little bit of an inflow, just to the northwest of. It's Castile, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So what communities?
I just want to pronounce it right.
What communities right now?
Castile, it's moving out of Gainesville and heading towards Silver Springs is where it's over right now.
So if you're there, you need to be in your safe space. That means your basement. If you don't have a basement, your bathroom is a good place to just go and hang out until this is over with.
Right. What I'm going to do is put it just a little bit of motion on it, just so we can all see what the latest track is.
And so far, the only report from the ground that we have is that there have been emergency crews called to help out with barns that have been damaged.
Right. I just, I think we're going to go back and look at this and go, wow, what is it about this time, this time of day? And at this, again, the Hamburg tornado was to the west of this. But of course, that Hamburg tornado did extend eventually and hopscotched all the way down into Allegheny County. But it's just eerily similar in terms of the timing. And somewhat of the geography.
And what kind of day was it before that?
Oh my gosh, that was a day where we were under alert. That was a day that we did have a heightened sense of urgency that severe weather had a potential. A very different day than this day. That was a storm that developed over Ontario, kind of dropped over Buffalo, and then descended upon Hamburg and spun up a tornado. It ended up being an EF2 tornado that moved through.
And it damaged a bunch of homes.
Yeah.
Fairgrounds, and it had a long track.
No, the Fairgrounds, Clark Street, Best Street, those are the areas of kind of right along near, if you know, St. Bernadette's Church. That was the area that saw some of that damage. But again, we're talking, that was in 2017. That was 5 years ago.
Yep.
But it just brings me back to that. So right now we are seeing, I'm assuming the pronunciation is Chase. Is that Chase? Okay. Chase. Okay. And
Castile.
Castile, right. And heading towards, and I will say, there's Letchworth State Park right here. You can see the Genesee River and the potential rotation here heading towards Letchworth and just to the south of Perry. I don't see Perry as being under the gun for this. Okay, this is south of Perry. So this, if you live Silver Springs, you're all clear. Castile, you're about to be, even though you're still within the potential rotation, and this is about to head out of Wyoming County.
And then you can see the 390 right there. So that's good that you're zooming out to give people
Let's give some perspective. There we go. Yeah, this is south of 20A. This is in south central Wyoming County.
And as of right now, the tornado warning's in effect for just 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
But the National Weather Service could always extend that.
Yes. Okay. This has now been. They issued a severe thunderstorm warning for this, which would replace the tornado warning. I don't need to get too technical, but that's what they've done. A tornado possible, winds of up to 60 miles an hour possible, and this is all radar indicated. There is the potential of hail up to 3/4 of an inch. Again, this storm doesn't have a tremendous height to it, but still there's enough of an updraft going on where raindrops that freeze above the freezing level can get lofted way up high and then drop down, and you can get some hail.
So you said replaces, so does that mean the tornado is over with, or is it along with it?
What I'm seeing is that this is currently, let me stand by.
And also, what area does the thunderstorm
they issued a severe thunderstorm warning for this exact same storm. But I've got to go by the letter of the law in that we still have a tornado warning for this until 11:15. So,
how far can you zoom in on that map?
There was?
Patrick.
I'm sorry?
How far can you zoom in on that map? Can you zoom in anymore?
Yeah, let's go a little bit tighter, right?
Just to see like
there is
where the worst areas are right now.
And again, just to repeat, earlier it was noted that there was an observed tornado that was replaced by radar indicated.
And so that map right there won't show us the streets except for the main routes, right?
If I take off the radar, give me a second here.
Because we just kind of want to see which neighborhoods, which
luckily we're kind of in open country here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why we're getting those reports of the barn damage. And then again, so far at Letchworth, as of a few minutes ago, it was just heavy rain.
Yeah, we're not in a very populated area. This looks to be farmland here, but as you can see, it's heading towards the Genesee River and away from Castile, but on the way to Livingston County.
And how far does it have to go until it's out of our coverage area?
It looks like about a half of a mile.
Okay.
So we'll stay with it until then.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm going to take a look at the other. We're now moving away from the radar tower. We're into hilly terrain. It's not picking up on the rotation as well as it was earlier.
And when you have a border with green and red, that's where the most rotation is, right? What does that mean? I remember that means something.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
The red and the green represent different wind directions away from and towards the radar tower. Where's the radar tower? It's right there at the airport.
It's in
if you've ever driven by it, you've seen it. It's right at where the National Weather Service is. And this beam shoots out at an angle. So by the time it's here, it's not looking necessarily at the surface. It's probably up at about 10 to 15,000 feet where it's scanning the storm. So it's not necessarily seeing exactly what's happening at the surface. And what I'll do here is just got a lightning strike, and there it is. Yeah, wow, it's still
it's still going strong.
It's still got I mean, even though the what we call the velocity data, that is the internal structure of the storm, does not look as menacing. The radar signature itself still shows that notch. You see that, right? I mean,
it's heading right towards 408 and Ridge.
Yes, and it's heading in between Ridge and Mount Morris and Brooks Grove.
So if you live
in Ridge, which is now technically in Livingston County, that is where the path of the storm is going.
Right. So just make sure you're going to your.
There's the 390. just to give you some perspective. So, and again, we are in fairly rural area, but we're now kind of in the Letchworth State Park area.
Right, so there could be a lot of people on summer vacation.
Right.
Hopefully they got the alert, because do they have tornado sirens at Letchworth? Alert people?
No, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, you've got sirens because of the nearby prison or jail, but there's no sirens that I'm aware of that are weather related.
Yeah. So if you know somebody who's at Letchworth, maybe just give them a heads up in case they don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah. So this is definitely a unique situation, and the tornado warning still is continuing for the next 5 minutes. It is heading out of Wyoming County. It's heading into Livingston County. The rotation that we're seeing on Doppler radar has weakened significantly, but you can see, when you've watched, let's say, radar signatures of past tornadoes, that notch, that hook is kind of one of the telltale signs of the possibility of rotation, and we're still seeing that.
But as of right now, we have no confirmed human sightings of a tornado.
No, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get in. And again, first of all, why do you not see much radar reflectivity in that notch? That's because that's where air is rising, okay? So you're not seeing as much rainfall occurring right there because the air is going up and not allowing raindrops necessarily to come down. So that's why you see an area where it doesn't look so bright on radar, but it's also indicating the possibility of where air is flowing up and into the storm, which is causing the spin, the rotation, and the possibility of a tornado. Can't stress that enough. The possibility of rotation that could indicate a tornado.
What's the lightning strike situation?
Very little. I mean, it's not, you don't have to have lightning, but that's a sign that this storm doesn't go high into the atmosphere. To get lightning, you need a lot of cold air in the storm, so you get what we call charge separation, where rain and ice particles are kind of interacting with one another, and that sets off the electrical charge to get lightning. There's one lightning strike. One. So that's a sign that this is kind of a unique little situation here where you don't have all the classic elements of a severe storm. But
it's 11:12, so 3 more minutes.
Yeah.
11:15. It looks like it's staying organized so far.
It is. Now remember, this is a radar scan, and we're about to get another one. You can see it, and we'll see again if that signature maintains. There it goes. Yeah, it's still there, and it's heading towards Ridge, right along 408.
Heading towards 36 and the
36 and the 390.
So if somebody is on the 390 right now and they can somehow hear you or hear coverage of this, what should somebody do? Just to remind all of us, since this doesn't happen very often here.
Right. Well, if you are in a car and you're traveling and you're heading away from the storm, continue on your path. But
yes.
a car is not a place you want to be when you're in a severe storm. When you're within a storm that's producing strong potential winds and rotation, because what a tornado will do to you will do to a car, and that's lift you up and take you away. So if in fact there is one. So a car is not a place you want to be.
What communities need to take cover right now?
Right now, Ridge and potentially Mount Morris. If this track continues, which it looks like it's still at 30 miles an hour. Ridge right now. That's the only town that seems to be in the path.
And you can go to your basement if you have one. If you don't have a basement, your bathroom or an interior room is the best place to be. You want to stay away from windows.
100%. Okay, there it is. There's the, to give you a perspective, it's moving out of Wyoming County, moving out of our coverage area,
right,
and heading into Livingston County, and it's now 11:14. So we will find and see if, in fact, they extend the warning. But even if they do, it's now into the coverage,
right, our coverage
Rochester
area.
and those areas.
Yeah, our coverage area would be in the clear, and there are no other storms.
No. This is just a unique situation. There was no screaming message today about a severe weather potential. And certainly a tornado, but that's the thing. I mean, you can get you can get a tornado almost in any severe storm. But today was not that classic setup.
Right.
And that can happen.
I was getting ready for the newscast and I saw you break into the Today Show and I was like, what is this? There's a tornado warning till 11:15.
Yeah,
We have an update. We got an update saying that emergency crews are responding to unconfirmed reports of structural damage and wires down in North Java and other nearby communities. So far, those are unconfirmed reports of damage to buildings and wires down, which would track with what we're seeing right there, because we know that's what winds do. They damage buildings and take wires down.
And looking once again at the tornado warning has been allowed to expire.
Okay, so it's expired.
Yep. So we are hoping that there was a limit to the damage. We are certainly hoping everybody is safe, but we needed to bring this coverage to you because there was a very identifiable signature on radar that said of the potential of a tornado, but that threat has now passed.
Is that area still under a severe thunderstorm warning?
There is yes, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell, but it is severe thunderstorm warning means you still can have the potential of a tornado, but
Right.
there is no longer a tornado warning. That means we could see some strong winds and some hail, some heavy rain, and that is now moving. The areas that are included in that are Groveland, Geneseo is actually in there too, and Nunda, and it looks like Castile, but it's moving away from Castile. So,
But that's the only one, right?
that's it. Yeah, that's the only severe thunderstorm going on right now.
So what we're looking at, just leaving Niagara County, those were not
Non-severe.
okay.
Non-severe.
Just probably a lot of rain.
A lot of rain, and there's a little bit more light. Well, the lightning is now over the Lake Ontario, but that looks like to be more of a potential wind and rainmaker heading through Genesee or Orleans County, I should say, heading out of Niagara County and heading into Shelby and Albion, Ridgeway, Carleton, and eventually maybe towards Alabama and Oakfield. But again, these are non-severe.
And what about what's happening in southern Erie County? It looks like by Gowanda there was.
Yeah, it looks like just some heavy rain here, but no severe. And yes, the warning officially ended at 11:15, and the Weather Service just confirmed it that the tornado warning has expired.
All right, and with that, we're going to send you guys to break. We'll be back with our severe weather coverage right after that.